Good. Well, welcome to everybody to our session here on our Northwest Business Leadership Team charter and initiative on essential resources. So welcome to all of you. Great to see you all here. Also, of course, at the International Festival for Business. Just a couple of introductory points. So first of all, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Jürgen Meyer. I'm the Chief Executive of Siemens in the UK, and I chair the Northwest Business Leadership Team. This piece of work of essential resources, the green economy, resource efficiency, I think it is and certainly needs to massively raise up the priority agenda. And I also say that speaking from my own organisation, but I see it everywhere. We've all got grand targets. In Siemens, we've got a target to internally be zero carbon by 2030, to be 50% lower on carbon emissions by 2020. And when you write those sorts of things 10 years ago, you sort of think, oh, well, 2030, it's sort of miles out, isn't it? And then you suddenly realise 2020 is definitely round the corner, and 2030, not that far away. And I might still even be working by that time. So there's no escaping the fact that this is my responsibility and I can't just pass it on to somebody else. And I think, that's really the thing about this topic, isn't it? It's about, I think there's too many generations that are going by and saying this is so long term, we'll just let the next generation worry about it. And if every generation does that, we're running into a huge problem. And so I think it really is time for us to step up and to show that responsibility, so that we can be proud of what we pass on to our next generation. And as such, I like all of the 7 steps, and we're going to be hearing more about those as we go through the discussion here. But the one that really sticks out to me is number 7. It's how to be a leader. And I think that's what really this discussion this afternoon is all about. It's about leadership in this. Of course, it's all about technology and all about those, more complex things. But at the end of the day, none of that will happen unless, we take leadership. And it has to be leadership, I think, from business communities. So therefore, I'm really pleased with this piece of work, because it is business leadership. Of course, it's business working in collaboration with local government.
The Green Alliance is an independent think tank focused on political leadership for the environment. And as
Welcome to Liverpool. It's great to see you all here today. What we do...
We are similar in many ways. And just to pick up where Mark left off, it's not really just about transport.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Todd Holding. I work for the Business Growth Company in Manchester. We're a not-for-profit group of companies.
Back to the national agenda. So, really, really interesting that we've got the industrial strategies. The industrial strategies, as I understand them, and particularly the clean growth strategy, which I'm closest to, are not just about meeting our carbon reduction budgets, which of course are a legal obligation. It's really about getting UK industry to be at the forefront of new technology, so that in a post-Brexit world, we can lead on something, and we'll be in a position to export that innovation in the form of products and services all over the world. So that is a really important part, as I understand it, of these industrial strategies. On clean growth, the government's already committed 2.5 billion of cash to clean growth. That'll be available up to 2021. It's made the commitment on policy that those policies will be aligned with regulation, with taxes and with investment. How unusual is that government actually aligns its the most powerful levers that it can pull? In the world of construction, I have to say that regulation is by far and away the most powerful. So incentives help. I have a kind of 80-20 rule. If you sell something of value add in construction, the maximum take-up you'll get will be 20%. The rest is lowest cost of compliance. So regulation is really, really key. And government recognises that, by the way. So we're having good conversations with BEIS about, come on, if you want to have better thermal performance of dwellings or even dwellings that are fit for purpose, you have to regulate for them because you cannot leave it. So if there are any developers, house builders here, please declare it now. Because, you know, it's a very good economic model, house building. Government's helping to grow demand, but it's not really helping to increase supply. So planning constrains supply, but government through giving incentives to house owners to buy a property is actually generating demand. So it's actually treating the wrong end of the problem. But government know that, we've mentioned it to them on numerous occasions. But if you want to improve it, you have to regulate for it, that's the rule. The issue I have with devolution and the localisation agendas is please don't all put in different levels of regulation for us. So I have to have a plethora of different products in the UK alone to meet your needs. Please at least, you know, go for the most ambitious, I don't mind. You know, go for 2038 instead of 2040, or go 2030. And actually, the challenge isn't the issue. Because in other markets in Europe, we're already faced with these challenges. And I always tell government, don't worry. You know, of course we'll have to innovate, and we've got the cost story to deliver against. That's an issue of getting volume and commercialising. But actually, the technology is already available. You know, we can deliver it in Germany. We can deliver it in France. What makes you think we can't deliver it in the UK? So the technology is there. So don't be frightened of giving us difficult targets. You asked me for the economic case, Jürgen. To be honest, the challenge is not so difficult to deliver against. We have the technology, we're continuing to innovate. A lot of that innovation happens in Preston, in the northwest of England. We're absolutely up for the challenge. Just tell us what you want, because I think we have either the means or the products under development to deliver it. So clean growth can be real. We can work to zero carbon targets. Tell us what you want, but please be consistent. And you know, make it a pathway. Don't make it legislation for 2020 that changes in 2025 and changes again in 2030. If you give us a consistent pathway, we can deliver what you need to clean up heat. Not electrify, clean up heat.
Good.
Okay.